A shirtless man was found climbing trees and running around the Santa Ana Zoo in California, claiming to be Tarzan. 36-year-old John William Roddenberry turned out to be on methamphetamine and wanted to get close to the animals so he could play with them. It's unknown how he actually got into the zoo because he didn't buy a ticket and also didn't walk in through the employee's entrance. The zoo is well prepared to deal with wild animals, but they aren't trained to deal with crazy humans, so they called 911. Police officers came in and escorted Roddenberry out of the zoo, hoping that he would take his tree-swinging activities elsewhere. A man in Colombia probably had the most embarrassing day of his life when he had to go to the hospital with 4 curtain rings around his penis. As he was apparently having a good time by himself, the rings got so tight around his little friend that special tools were required to free him. A group of firefighters had to be called in to cautiously remove the metal rings. It's a miracle no permanent damage was caused during the procedure, other than probably a broken ego. The hospital has reported that embarrassing situations like this happen around 4 times a year. A remarkable kidnap in Connecticut hit the news when David Pope dragged a 77-year-old man to his house. Pope then started force-feeding the man, who he thought was homeless. Even after the poor victim was bitten by Pope's dog, the feeding still continued. The 77-year-old guy finally managed to escape in an unguarded moment and send the cops over to Pope's house. When they walked in, they found a drunk Pope who refused to restrain his aggressive dog. He faced court and was charged with second-degree reckless endangerment, interfering with the duties of an officer, second-degree kidnapping, and disorderly conduct. Pope was held on a $500 bond. He'll probably think twice before grabbing random people off the streets again to shove food down their throats. A 44-year-old man who went to a hospital in France for a checkup of his injured leg was told that he only had half a brain in his skull. This story happened in 2007, but was only recently made public. It was just as shocking to the doctors as it was to the patient. Many parts of the brain were completely missing or significantly reduced. This very rare condition is the result of postnatal hydrocephalus, or as it's more commonly known, water on the brain. Although more than half of the brain is missing, the man can actually function like a normal person and only has a slightly below average IQ. The remaining part of his brain has taken over all of the jobs that the dead brain parts used to take care of. It's mind-blowing how the brain works, and just goes to show you that having a smaller brain doesn't necessarily make you less smart. A pregnant 16-year-old girl from Honduras was probably buried alive after being pronounced dead by a couple of doctors. It's believed that she suffered from a panic attack, which caused her heart to stop beating temporarily. As the doctors were unable to retrieve her, a funeral service was held and her body was buried. A family member who visited the grave a day later reported that he heard screams and banging noises coming from the coffin. The family then rushed to dig up the coffin and break it open. They found a coffin with a smashed glass window, and the girl had bruises on her fingers, supposedly from trying to break out. Her body was also still warm and a faint heartbeat was detected. The rescue came too late, and the 16-year-old girl had to be buried a second time.